Welcome to My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. Join Larissa and Mallory as they explore biohacking tips for women based on the latest science and research available today. Let them help you unlock your best self. It's time to hack smarter, not harder, together.
Welcome to My Wellness Rewired. We are very excited to do our part 2 topic of glucose levels, especially how they impact women. Last week we talked about what blood sugar is, how it spikes our moods, our hormones, our energy crashes, and all things that women battle with on a regular basis. And we also learned that Alzheimer's is now considered the third type of diabetes, and that is very scary to all of us. So it was very much of a reality check on how important glucose monitoring really is to live a healthier longevity lifestyle and how we can change it. So today we are going to talk about the most amazing book that Mallory found for us. Do you want to introduce the book?
So I actually wrote down a bio about the author. So Jessie Inchauspé, I don't know how to say her last name. Her story is she was a French biochemist who turned complex science into visual, simple hacks after her own blood sugar struggles. No calorie counting, no food shaming, just order and timing tweaks that flatten curves fast. So the whole premise of her book is, hey, when your blood sugar is all over the place, your body's all over the place, and you have inflammation, which we know is one of the biggest precursors to premature aging. It affects all of your other systems. And so if you just flatten your glucose curves, you're going to be staving off so much potential disease in the future, inflammation, all of these chronic issues. And so that's the basis of her entire book. It's a light read, very entertaining. And funnily enough, like I mentioned last week, it was sitting on my shelf for years, and I knew I wanted to read it because I knew that, the art of balancing your blood sugar can have a lot of benefits, but I didn't realize how much, and I'd always meant to read it. So finally, when we read Good Energy by Dr. Casey Means, and then went down the rabbit hole of getting continuous glucose monitors and experimenting on them on your behalf, listeners, the things we do for you. Just kidding. Anyway,
Really?
So
Really for ourselves, but for you too.
Right. This is the excuses we make to try all these crazy things. This one ended up paying off huge. And I finally read the Glucose Revolution book by Jessie. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Do you know how to pronounce it?
I literally was going to be like, wow,
something.
I'm really excited for you to say this because I have no idea how to say her last name.
I have no idea. And the funny thing is I listened to the audiobook. So really I should have paid more attention.
Well, she has the Glucose Goddess on Instagram. So that is her handle. So that is that person.
I don't even know how to explain it. Like she literally, after a major accident when she was very young, I think she broke her back. They had to fuse it, all these things. Anyway, she got a lot more focused on her health after that and actually went into a lot of jobs into medical research and things like that. And anyway, because she had such a curious mind over time, she got interested into glucose monitoring and all the things that it can do for you and just started to kind of run experiments. And then she started the word spread with her friends and family that led her to doing more experiments with like eating foods and seeing how your body, your glucose blood sugar levels, if you will, respond, right? And then that led her to creating her Instagram account, The Glucose Goddess, which is how she's the most known. Anyway, it was like a light switch for me. I don't know about you, but I read this, and at the time I had the CGM in. I put the CGM in. I read the book because I want to understand the data that I'm getting better. And then how I can use the data about how my body is responding to food to my own benefit.
Yeah. Well, it's so attainable. Like it's literally instant.
Absolutely. Literally, as I was reading the book, I started to implement all of these tools she was giving us and immediately noticed positive effects. And I could literally watch it on my continuous glucose monitor. I ate a normal meal and then I applied her tips or her tricks and saw my glucose levels steady out. And it was crazy to see in real life.
Okay, so my experience with the glucose monitoring was amazing. It really helped me because what they do is is it the Stello?
Yes.
We got the Stello because it went with our Aura ring. That it connected with the data was on the same thing, so it was easier for us to read. And it was like $50 a device.
Yeah, I think it's like it was $99 and you got a pack of 2.
Oh, okay. So about $50 a device, but it's so interesting because then it directly relates to your Aura, and then you see all the data on there, and it's all connected with your whole picture, which I think is really nice. And I felt very spoiled by it, but it was on there, and they have this graph, and so you have this green band like right in the middle, and that's pretty much your high and your low. And so you want your blood sugar to stay within this green band, like a green river going down it. And then if you have a high spike, it will go up, and if you have a low spike, it will go down below the green band. And so it was really impactful to know once you ate how quickly you could check it. I was checking my monitor like every 5 seconds, I felt like.
Yeah. And so what it does is it updates every 15 minutes, right? And so because I'm not pre-diabetic, I'm not diabetic, all these things, right? Then my range was between, I think 70 and 140 was like the range that they're like, this is where you want to stay within. That was my green range. Right? And then the thing that was so cool about the CGM is it would tell you, first of all, it would send you a notification if you had a blood sugar spike or drop. Be like, hey, spike detected at this time. And so then it would help you bring awareness to maybe things that you were eating. For example, we went to the movies with the kids and got popcorn and Raisinets and all the good stuff. And it was a treat, like a family outing. And man, did my blood sugar spike. I was like, yeah, this tracks. I mean, I expected it, but it was interesting that I'm at the movie and it's like, your blood sugar has spiked. And it kept telling me.
Well, it was interesting because I was, fasting like a girl. So I was on my ketogenic cycle in the month. And I was eating ketogenic and fasting, and my blood sugar never went above or below the green. It stayed in the green the entire time I was ketogenic. And then I went into my hormone feasting, which I'm still in the learning curve on that. So I probably did more than what I should have. And it's interesting what spiked it. Like, I'm trying to think of what is something that spiked your blood sugar.
You said you ate a banana.
Were surprised at. Oh, bananas. Bananas definitely spiked me. Avocado toast spiked me.
Yeah, bread. If I put bread on anything, it's spiked.
I'm trying to think of what else spiked. But mostly though, when I was in ketogenic, that I feel like really, really hit home to me that if I just eat healthy fats, meats, proteins, and vegetables, your blood stays really, really stable.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why the ketogenic diet is so effective, because you're removing carbs and putting your body into a state of ketosis, which is burning fat for fuel versus glycogen, but also you're flattening your glucose curves. So it's doing multiple things in that style of eating that is very beneficial. Now, it's not the only beneficial way to eat, but Larissa and I do respond very well to it. And it has helped us a lot. And I was the same way with me. On the days that I was doing the ketobiotic way of eating, I was in range 100% of the time. And the goal that the app sets for you is you want to be within your green range for 96% of the time, I think it was, maybe 93%. I can't remember. But it was great because my overall, at the end of the 2 weeks, I was so proud because my overall average, I think was 94%. Which I had a couple of bad days in there. So I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was great. The things that it spiked on, I think mine spiked on yams too.
I didn't eat yams.
But it wasn't a high spike. You know what I mean? It was more just out of range. It was barely out of range, So that's another thing too, is how steep the spike is.
Yeah. So basically, when we talk about the glucose revolution, she talks about wanting to keep your spike within 30 points, right? So if you're sitting at 90 and your glucose, you don't want to go above, 120? That's a normal spike. Anything more than 30 is considered an extreme spike. For me, I was like, I just wanted to stay in green, right?
Yeah.
If I'm eating and I'm staying in my green zone, that's successful. All right. I'm a newbie here. And so the interesting thing about that whole experience was I was reading Glucose Revolution pretty early on. And so when I immediately started applying the hacks that she provides in her book, that's why I stayed in green the whole time. Even when I was eating on the bad days, like that first bad day when I went to the movies, it spiked and went crazy. But then the other days, there were a couple of days where we didn't eat on plan. We were just having a treat or something, but I followed her hacks and I never went above the green zone. So that was very cool to see.
Well, when I did my CGM, I put that on before I read her hacks. I went out to Indian food and I immediately had the naan bread, the garlic naan bread, and then I had the rice, and then some of the curry and different amazing things. I just wanted to eat it all. So I went in that order though, and then I spiked crazy on my glucose monitor. So then the next day I looked at, like I was looking up her hacks, and I did it in reverse, and I did the salad, and then I did the veggies, and then I did the protein, and then I had the rice, and then the very end I had the naan bread as like my dessert. And then I was fine. I was in the green zone. Like I didn't do a high spike. So that was crazy how it was the exact same food. One day I had it, and then I just literally only ate half of it, and I ate the second half of it on the second day, the exact same food, ingredients and everything, but just in a different order. One spiked like crazy, and day 2 was no spike at all.
Yes, I love it. That's what I love, because we're not like, don't eat these foods. It's like, just be smarter about how you eat them, and you can still have some flexibility in your life, which I freaking love. So this has been huge, because we know that as far as, our big mission here with this podcast is like, let's just help women who are just feeling the brain fog and the energy lag and the exhaustion and, all of these things, navigate things in as simple of a way as possible. Like, we're trying to find you bang for your buck on things that you can do to feel better. And so I'm like, this one is like a solid check. Okay. So
it's easy to apply. Let's talk about our hacks. Like, it is literally so quick and simple that you're like, oh, does that really make a difference? But it really does. And it blows your mind. Well, and I should say for most people it does, right? That's why you have to kind of know your body and own your health.
And we can talk about, she gives 10 hacks to flatten your glucose curves. So that's what we're talking about, that we're all excited about. And we're going to cover right now.
And I always want to jump right to the end. Like, I don't want to do the workup. I literally just want to jump right to the end. That's every podcast.
You got to do the lead in, Larissa. Come on.
I want to jump right to the meat and potatoes. I want to go right to where it really matters.
Are you a person who reads a book and reads the ending just to see what happens? Don't you dare do that.
No, absolutely not. No. Nope, I don't. I don't do that.
Good.
But that doesn't mean that when I'm really excited to share something with somebody that I don't go right to the end and then go back and explain how we got there.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
So the 10 hacks that she does that are great, easy, and she explains this on the book. And again, like what Mallory said, it's a very light read. It's very quick. And I listened to it while I was meal prepping, and I was blown away with it. And so the first hack that I loved, which I already kind of talked about in our first episode, our last episode, is eat in the right order. So veggies and fibers first, then proteins and fats, and then carbs and sugars last. So if you eat it in that order, it will already help you.
Yeah, it like slows the uptake of the glucose so that it's not just an immediate like fire hose of glucose that spikes quickly. It slows the absorption so that it's a gentler hill. So, and this is very effective. Actually, my kids really wanted to get ice cream on the way to soccer practice last week. And so I was like, okay, we'll get you an ice cream cone, but you have to eat, I think I handed them like a couple heads of broccoli and some carrots or something. And I was like, you have to eat these on the way there. And so I was like, if you want ice cream, you'll have to eat them. And they did. They ate them. And we had a great night. There were no usual mood swings or like, hyper emotional kids. They were all cooperative and fun. And my oldest helped babysit my youngest. Like, it was a great night. And I really feel like that has made a huge difference.
I agree. I mean, I've only been trying for a couple of weeks, but I'm 100% a believer in it after the CGM.
So the next one is to add a green starter or any veggies to every meal, because all of that fiber makes such a huge difference for your glucose regulation.
And what's funny in the book, she talks about when you go to restaurants, what do? They give you chips and salsa, or they give you bread and, olive oil to dip in. Like, it's all things that are horrible for you, because then you just build your cravings and makes you want to eat more, and it makes your glucose spike and you're kind of erratic and all over the place. So it was really interesting when she said that, because I was, oh, that's right. Nobody gives you a side salad first, hardly anyone. I mean, usually it's bread and chips and salsa, and then you can add it. So that's a hack, is you can just ask for a small salad starter, and that will set the tone for your whole glucose level for the meal.
Well, that's the interesting thing, is that was the other thing that I did when I was testing things out on my CGM, is I went out to dinner for a friend's birthday. A group of us girls went out, and we went to a fancy restaurant with wine tasting, all of my favorite things, guys. And normally we would have done like a fun starter that was something carby. It's always carby, like bread. Well, they brought out bread first. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to eat the bread yet. But they had a starter that was like Brussels sprouts. And I was like, perfect. Yum. So I ordered that as a starter, and I started with the Brussels sprouts. And then I went to my main course, which was like chicken and veggies and mashed potatoes. So I ate the Brussels sprouts and the chicken. And then I started into the mashed potatoes, and I had a little bit of bread with vinegar. And my glucose did not spike at all. I stayed in the green zone. Even drinking wine, I didn't get any crazy spikes or anything. I stayed in the green zone the whole night.
Did you just drink the wine at the end of after you ate the Brussels sprouts?
After the Brussels sprouts is when I started the wine. I didn't wait for after the protein, but I only sipped, you know what I mean, until I had enough protein and fat in my system. And I don't know actually how much alcohol spikes your blood sugar, but I definitely don't have a great history with it. So
alcohol goes straight to your brain. She said in the book that when you feel buzzed, that means that sugar is already in your brain.
Oh.
So if you're buzzed, that means the sugar is already there. So alcohol is definitely a spiker.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I had a great night. And the thing is I felt so empowered. That was awesome. So I was like, I can still go out. I can still have a great time with my friends and feel like I'm letting loose, you know what I mean? And having a little bit of an indulgence, and it's not going to completely wreck me. Because the thing that I have noticed is that the times that I had the major blood sugar spikes, I watched my CGM for the 24 to 36 hours after, and it was still going crazy. I feel like I still couldn't even regulate it very well. It took a recovery period, and my mood swings, Larissa, were crazy. I feel crazy. I felt like it was almost hormonal, but I was looking at my CGM and I'm like, it's my blood sugar that's causing my mood swings, which was, that's mind blowing.
That goes into the hack number 3. Hack number 3 is to go savory in the morning, because what do? We give people like cereal in the morning for breakfast, or carbs, or bagels, donuts, English muffins. All of that stuff is a horrible way to start out your day, because it will spike your glucose right away in the morning. And then you spend the whole day trying to balance out your glucose, and it makes it erratic all day long. And it's not like it just is for that short period of time and then it evens out. So really in the morning, it's really important, if you eat breakfast, to go savory, like eggs and an avocado or a protein or some kind of thing like that, instead of sweet oatmeal or smoothies, like apparently my daughter does every day, which I got to retrain her, and I'm so proud of her for doing. And now I'm like, don't do that anymore.
Yep. Well, even if she just started with something protein and fat heavy and still had the smoothie,
well, I wonder how her glucose would be affected if she put protein powder in her smoothie.
Yeah. And some fiber. She's got to put some fiber in there too.
Well, if she puts, spinach, the green stuff. Thank you. Spinach.
The green stuff.
If she puts protein powder in there and then spinach, so it still has that, that fiber and protein, and then mix in a few berries and,
it might help. It depends on what she's sweetening with and which fruits she's using.
Yeah. I just
have to put it. Experimenting.
I know. And I'm going to, because I want the best for her.
Yeah. But the breakfast thing really is crazy, because really, and she specifies in the book, she's not anti-fasting. It's really the first meal of the day that you have, whenever that may be for you. Yeah. But it's really crucial to establish a steady glucose curve first thing, right? How you start determines your day. And so that has been a huge one for sure.
Well, it's so funny, because we're state testing right now, and we got snacks for all the classrooms, and they're like little animal cookies or like goldfish or whatever. And I'm like, we're not helping their glucose levels at all right now.
You're like, this is the bad idea.
We're not helping their brains be successful right now at all.
Oh, I know. It's all I can think about. Because like one of the there's class for my kids. There's approved like birthday treats and snacks and stuff. And I'm like, Nerds is on there. I'm like, that's some of the approved snacks. You're like, really? I mean, I know it's a birthday treat, but holy cow, guys. This is so terrible. Oh, I digress. Okay. The next one is vinegar before meals. It was so interesting to hear how this hack is true because we've all heard about, oh, drink some apple cider vinegar and it'll help you balance your blood sugar. I've heard of that hack and our mom uses it very effectively, actually. And so it's true. If you add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to your water and drink it, I think it's 15 to 20 minutes before you're going to eat something sugary. It doesn't taste that bad. And it actively helps you like mitigate the impact of the sugars you eat.
Yeah, because 1 teaspoon of vinegar is not that much. And so if you have it in a cup of water, it's diluted and stuff. So it would be an easy thing. But I actually vaguely remember hearing about it, but it's not been something in my forefront at all. So I was actually surprised by that one. And it's so easy to do, but I just have to remember to do that one.
Yeah, that one you do have to remember.
You have to
and apparently it's still effective if you forget and do it right after. It can still help, just not as much as if you do it before.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yep. So that one's an interesting hack that it's just great to have a lot of tools in your tool belt. If you know you're going to a birthday party, you know you're going to want some of that cake or an event that has donuts and you got to have one of those donuts because donuts are amazing. There are things that you can do.
So hack number 5 is move after eating. So the Huberman Lab, Dr. Hyman, Dr. Mindy Peltz, all of these amazing doctors have all talked about this. This is not something new. That after you eat, go on a 10-minute walk around the block, march in place. And in the book, she even says if she can't walk, she does 30 squats. I'm not always in the mood to go out and walk like after dinner. By the time then I'm ready to like crash and chill. But I could, while watching TV, do 30 squats.
Oh, absolutely. That's up my alley too.
To my book.
Yeah. Like sometimes I don't want to drag the toddler and the dog out for a 10-minute walk. You know, I would do some squats for sure. Throw the ball for the dog in the yard.
So she has treated herself as an experiment. So when she has her CGM in, she checks her blood monitor and she watches it. And so the 30 squats is her magic number to get it so that it brings it down or helps it maintain it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love that one. That one is actually very effective. It's very interesting. And the thing that was cool about the CGM and having it tie in kind of with some of our other smart devices, like I have an Apple Watch, you have a Fitbit, is it would track if you recorded exercise, it showed it alongside your CGM levels, your blood sugar levels, so that you could actively see, you know, if it affected, you know what I mean? Like it tied them in together, which is super cool.
And it tied in your sleep, which was interesting to watch what your blood sugar does while you sleep, because I didn't know that was a whole thing.
Well, yeah, apparently a lot of people, you know, who wake up at like 3, 4 a.m. and have insomnia and they can't sleep, usually that's related to a blood sugar crash in the middle of the night that wakes them up and then they're unable to sleep while they're recovering. So who knew? Like that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I did not know that. So that was fascinating.
Yeah. And we won't go through all of the hacks today. We're just talking about our favorite ones of the 10. But my other favorite one, and this is probably one of my most favorite ones, is dress your carbs, which means if you know you're going to be eating carbs, they're not the healthiest, maybe they're not the most ideal. If you pair it with a protein, a fat, a fiber, ideally multiple of those, you know, and if you're snacking, you go savory, like that's huge for mitigating the effect of those carbs. And so that's like what I did when I wanted to get my kids ice cream, is I mitigated it with some dense fiber before they could have the ice cream. And it really did make a difference.
And it's so simple.
It's so simple. I wanted to have pancakes for breakfast and I knew they're protein pancakes, so they're not anything crazy. But I was like, I have to have, so I had some sauteed spinach and little chicken sausages before I had the pancakes. And was just smooth and easy, still all green zone. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that. All of these hacks are great. The book is great. I highly recommend reading it. It's very easy to read or listen to, depending on what you like to do. And it pairs perfectly with the metabolic health principles, and the steady glucose supports mitochondria, reduces inflammation, and it gives that good energy vibe from good energy that every woman needs. And so it really is an easy step to really boost up your longevity and health.
Yep. And it's honestly, I think this is just one of those things like hydrating and getting good sleep. Like you've got to actively utilize easy tools to keep your blood sugar levels as smooth as possible, because it really does long-term make a big difference, especially when you think about the added, once the damage has occurred, it's occurred, right? As far as aging goes, you really have to, there might be specific ways you can kind of reverse, but there's not many. Really, prevention is the best medicine. And this is a fantastic way to do that.
And change almost instantly.
Yeah, think about 20 years from now, right? Do them some favors.
All right, so now it's time for a game. We're going to bring this back, spike or no spike, but we're going to do it plus the glucose revolution.
So round one, we're going to do a throwback from last episode. We're going to talk about the green smoothie. You're feeling virtuous. You've got all of your vitamins in your go-to green smoothie. We're talking about bananas, berries, oat milk, spinach, and a scoop of protein powder for breakfast. And we determined last week that this is a sneaky spike, because even with some protein, the blended fruit and oat milk can still hit fast without enough fat and fiber to slow it down. So, especially on an empty stomach, let me just say, because that does make a big difference on how quickly you absorb things. So remember, we thought that this was...
I thought it was a no spike, but I was wrong.
Right. Yes. So let's talk about how to fix it, because it actually is a spike. If you turned it savory first, that can make a big difference. Like if you start with a base of Greek yogurt, or you could do protein powder and spinach and add in like an avocado or nut butter, like we talked about, plus flaxseed. Again, see, I got this. Then you add just a small amount of the frozen berries, right? You can still add some of the fruit, but you kind of like do less fruit and more of the others. Like you got to adjust the ratio. The other thing you could do is you could eat it with a side of veggies or after a vinegar shot. Yeah, all of these would equal a much flatter curve, steadier energy, and also happier skin. So that's great.
And then it goes back also to the whole food thing, like don't blend it as much so that it has some of that fiber as the whole food benefits that will help slow it down.
Right. Don't break down all the fibers by making it silky smooth. Think boba tea, guys.
All right. Round two. So this is another throwback. So I asked Mallory about avocado toast. So the classic healthy, quote unquote healthy, avocado toast on whole grain bread drizzled with olive oil and maybe some chili flakes, which I love. Spike or no spike? Mallory said.
I said no spike.
No spike. And it ended up being a moderate to a big spike for many women. And the breads, the starches break down quickly, even if it's whole grain, especially first thing in the morning. And so that's how it started. And then to fix it based on the glucose revolution, you needed to you have to dress it properly, because she said to make sure you dress your carbs, don't leave them alone. You dress them up.
Don't dress it properly.
I know, exactly. I was like, I wanted to say that, but now I was trying to avoid saying that, but now you've been. So you don't want a naked avocado toast, apparently. So you want to dress it properly. So to make it dressed, you would add a protein, which could be an egg on there, some smoked salmon on there, some cottage cheese on there. All of that is protein on your avocado toast. And you could eat a handful of raw veggies or a small salad first. And or you could swap the toast for a savory base, like an egg or an avocado or protein, just as the base. So what is it, deconstructed? You deconstruct the toast. And if you ate the avocado first and then you ate an egg, then you had the bread, it would help you not spike as much.
Yeah. Those are all actually really good options. You could do any of those.
Yeah.
And remember, less glycation means your collagen stays happier, which is that natural glow. That's what you need for youthful appearance and beautiful skin. We've covered that in the past. So every time I find things, I just like to remind everybody of that. Okay, number 3, we're going to talk about my favorite snack. Honeycrisp apple slices with almond butter and honey dip. Do you think this is a spike or no spike as an afternoon pick-me-up?
I don't know actually on this one, because I feel like the honey, well, the fiber of the apple will be great, but the sugar of the apple will spike. But then the almond butter would slow it down, and then the honey would spike.
Right.
So I'm going to say a spike.
Yep, because it'll be milder than a plain apple, like you're already mitigating, but it's still noticeable because the honey adds some quick sugar on top of the fruit, right? And if it's eaten alone, like say it's not dessert after a meal, but you're eating it when you're like got a pretty empty stomach, like that can be a bit of a roller coaster ride, right? And so the fix on this is to skip or just greatly minimize the honey, like just a tiny drizzle, and add a sprinkle of cinnamon because that helps with insulin sensitivity. So
I'm gonna add cinnamon to everything I put.
I know, right?
Yeah,
like cinnamon on every. It tastes good anyway, so why not? I also think it's a prebiotic, isn't it? I feel like it's one of those spices that feeds your gut microbiome.
Yes, it is. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twofer.
Yeah, good memory.
You got a twofer.
Yeah.
So what you can do with this snack also is you can pair the whole thing with an extra protein or fat, like a handful of almonds or a hard-boiled egg on the side. That can help mitigate any sugar spike as well.
And with all of these, you can always move too, like do your 30 squats.
That's true.
I do all that, or your vinegar.
That's absolutely true.
Okay, so the next one is a bowl of fresh fruit, like berries, bananas, etc., with a sprinkle of sugar and whipped cream.
Okay, this is interesting because I feel like so many people, that's a pretty common thing to sprinkle a little sugar to sweeten your fruit a little more. Like if you have a bowl of strawberries, so many people I know sprinkle sugar on them before they serve them in desserts. And
you feel like it's a healthy dessert, because it's not a cake, fruit. It's not a, cookie, like it's not all of that. So what do you think?
Yeah. I think adding the sugar to the fruit, that's definitely a spike.
You are correct. It is definitely a bigger spike than you expect. And fruit alone, especially a banana, plus added sugar on an empty stomach, you hit it right on. Yeah. A+, Mallory. You get an A+, or 5 points. I can't remember what we're doing. As a standalone, snacks sends glucose up fast and no fiber to buffer it or slow it down, so it's not gentle. So yeah, that you are correct. So now to fix it, so you save the fruit for the end. So you deconstruct it, right? You save the fruit for the end after veggies or protein or fat. So you want to make sure you eat it in conjunction with that. Use a plain unsweetened whipped cream or Greek yogurt instead of a sweetened. So you skip the extra sugar and then you choose more berries and less banana, because berries have less sugar than bananas, so it will spike less. And then you could also do a handful of nuts or seeds on top instead of the sugar. And then if you wanted to do like the vinegar trick, 10 to 15 minutes before, that way you will still get the sweetness and the antioxidants without the crash or the extra inflammation. That will
right. The other thing that you could do is you could make this dessert immediately after your dinner. So you start with your vegetables, you have your protein and your fat as your dinner, and then you have that as dessert, right? But I would probably still skip the sprinkle of sugar, right? More berries than banana. Like you can adjust the ratios a little bit to be more glucose friendly, and then make it your dessert. Like if you still wanted to have your whipped cream, right? There's flexibility there. But that way you're riding off of all of the things you've eaten in your meal. You've just moved your snack closer to the end of your meal.
Yes, which is very helpful.
Yep. Okay, next one is one of my favorite meals, also for breakfast, so that's why we're covering it.
Do you see a common theme here?
Right. Protein pancakes in the morning with banana slices and maple syrup on top. Weekend vibe. Spike or no spike?
I'm going to say protein pancakes, even though they have protein in them, is still carbs. So I'm going to say spike.
Yeah, you're right. It is a solid spike, even with the protein component, because we're talking about pancakes or starches, the banana's a sugary fruit. Maple syrup is just another form of sugar first thing in the morning. That's a classic breakfast roller coaster situation you've got going on. So the fix would be start with a veggie packed mini omelet. That's a great savory option to start with. Get some of your fibers in there. You can load it with spinach, peppers, mushrooms, zucchini, whatever you have on hand, whatever greens you have on hand could be added. Get the fiber, the protein, and the fat in first, and then enjoy the protein pancakes as more of like a dessert part of your breakfast. But do just a few banana slices, a light drizzle of syrup, and maybe a touch of berries and cinnamon even, right?
Yummy.
Yep.
And I feel like this one has a lot of swaps for it. You know what I mean? Like you could add like Greek yogurt on it if you wanted to. You could add like a side of avocado. Like you could go walking after place. You could do your 30 squats. You can do your vinegar. So there's a lot of different tweaks. That's what's nice is once you know the hacks, you can tweak almost anything.
Yeah, there's so many hacks that it's like, what are you in the mood to do?
Yeah, exactly.
There's something you can do to make this more blood sugar friendly. So it's just more of like, I feel like awareness and education makes all the difference, because once you know, it's such an easy switch that you won't even think about it, but it does have long-term major benefits for you.
All right. So our big takeaways this week is start tiny. Pick 1 or 2 hacks this week, like eating a savory breakfast. You know, do something that you want to start this week and just try it out and start experimenting and realize what you're doing to help yourself longevity wise and mood and hormones.
Absolutely. And remember, be kind to yourself and be experimental. Track how you feel. How's your energy? How are your cravings? How's your mood? How's your skin? Your cycle symptoms? We're not after perfection. We're just after information.
And if you're curious, like we were, especially Mallory was curious, and then I got into it, and then I was like 100% glad that she made me curious. If you're curious, try the book hacks for a week. I would highly recommend getting the book, listening to it. It's an easy listen, and even consider a short GM glucose monitoring stint where you can actually experiment it with yourself in your own body and see what your body reacts to. And it kind of removes the guesswork. So it's much easier when you do it that way, but make changes and stick with it, and then use your own data to really narrow down what your glucose and what is appropriate, or what you can flex with based on your body.
Yep. Oh, the CGM, that really is a lifesaver. I feel like, I don't know, I like the information. I like to correlate how I feel with what's happening inside of me. Being able to have those two things communicate, really, it makes such a big difference for driving home how important it is, right?
Well, I'm also excited that they're becoming so much more available. You don't have to have a doctor's note, or prescription, or, any of that. Like you can literally go online and buy it today, which is what we did. Not today, but we bought it immediately and we got it and we were able to experiment right away. So that was fantastic.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was able to experiment while I was reading the book, which was really cool. And it's so affordable. And they have a subscription option. So I really, honestly, in Good Energy, she recommends like a quarterly CGM just to like keep you on track with how your body, because if you're making lifestyle changes, or things are happening hormonally, like it's just good to regularly check in with your body and see how you're responding to foods and how like your hacks that you're doing are helping, or if there's more you need to do, right?
Yeah, that's great. Because I did mine a couple weeks ago and I'm like, I could do mine again.
Yeah, me too. I don't think I'm going to wait for the next quarter, but that's because it's new, right? I'm going to do it twice and then I'll start quarterly after that because I have so many more experiments I want to do. So
I know, because that's the thing is you really want to try different foods. And so it all depends on what food you get into your 2 weeks.
Yep, it's so true. And our last piece of sisterly advice: when your glucose steadies, you get to show up calmer and more radiant for yourself, for your family, for your work, for your relationships. So this is sustainable wellness, not another short-term fix. So again, it's foundational and it's something that we really think could be a big help.
So we are doing this in our wellness community. We're going to put out some freebies in there. So if you want to join us, feel free to come and join us.
Yes. Yep. My Wellness Rewired Facebook group. Be
minor
there
detail.
Or be square.
I'm like, minor detail, giving out the name.
That's kind of important. I don't know. Okay. And remember, ladies, our mission is simple: to help you truly know your body and take ownership of your own health, one biohack at a time. Our own family health curveballs have pushed us deep into this journey, and everything we've learned has changed everything. So now we're here to share it with as many women as possible. So if this episode lit a spark for you or made you think of another incredible woman in your life, please share it. Hit like, spread the glow, and bring some real health inspiration to the women in your life. And we will catch you guys next time. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Do you know how to pronounce it?
I literally was going to be like, wow,
something.
I'm really excited for you to say this because I have no idea how to say her last name. But I do have to say, when I had her, when I was wearing my CGM, I always want to jump right to the end. Like, I don't want to do the workup. Like, I literally just want to jump right to the end. That's every podcast.
You gotta do the lead in, Larissa. Come on.
I want to jump right to the meat and potatoes. Like, I want to go right to where it really matters.
Are you a person who reads a book and reads the ending just to see what happens? Don't you dare do that.
If she puts,
spinach.
The green stuff. Thank you. Spinach.
The green stuff. All right, you wellness rock stars. That's a wrap on this episode of My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. We've had a blast dishing out the hacks and laughs, but hold up, let's keep it real.
Yep, we are not doctors. We are just sharing our biohacking adventures and learning right alongside you. Nothing we say is medical advice, so always, always check with your healthcare provider before trying any new wellness tricks.
Absolutely. This podcast is all about inspiration and entertainment, not prescriptions. So join our Facebook group for more sassy wellness vibes. Catch you next time.